like, 200, some of these videos, 300, 400 million people are gonna watch it. Like, it's a lot of people. I gotta like make this stuff as simple as possible. Yeah. Or like, some of these 400 million people just aren't gonna understand it. They're just not, is what I used to believe. But in that video, I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna throw my preconceived notions out the windows. Yeah. Like these like challenges, if they vote for them, I'm gonna make them a little more complicated. I'm gonna add some more like things that you have to like flick your brain on to like really comprehend. And like, the last challenge, like, when I'm filming it, I'm like, oh, man, I just don't see how like everyone actually understands what's going on. Yeah. Like the whole like, 2 briefcases, one has 500,000, one doesn't, no one looks in it. And then one person looks and then they decide if they swap. Like that is one of the more complicated things I've done. And so after we filmed it, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. But I like grabbed that, I had them edit that clip and I just went to like 40 people, from all ages. And I was just like, watch this and tell me if you get it. And all 40 of them were like, yeah, that made sense. I understand it. And like, as long as they were actually paying attention, it made perfect sense, And I was like, oh. And then I was like, okay. And then my nerves calmed down and I uploaded the video. Yeah. And instead of people being like, I'm lost or I don't understand the ending, everyone's like, oh my gosh, the ending was like, oh, that was so cool.
The
it was
like
really the best. It was so thought provoking. I was so grabbed. And so like, it changed my perspective. Like, I actually think I can have more complicated stuff and people still easily follow along, even though I have the skill I have, which I didn't think so before, which is why you should always innovate and adapt.
Well, also, let's think about football, the Super Bowl. Like, football's a really complicated game.
It is.
Right? And it is. And a lot of people watch that game, but it's pretty complex.
Yeah, but they've also had training their whole lives and blah, blah, blah.
And when it comes down to it, it's also like one team is going this way, the other is going that way.
Because like, I still don't even fully understand football.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm just
like, boxing is so interesting because it's so simple.
I think, when I watched that video, you also left space for character building, which is something we talked to you about 2 years ago.
Yes, sir.
It was advice from us that, like, not to say that that's
no, of course,
at all
go for it.
part of
no,
it.
We'll take everyone tells you.
Like, there's an element of, when you make space for character building, potentially people click off.
Yeah.
Because they're like,
exactly. I was worried about that before.
I'm not connected to that person. And in that video, I think you successfully pulled that off, where one of the final contestants, it's his daughter's birthday.
I know.
And she comes in and like, he's emotional.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first times where I was like, whoa,
we had a guy